Hello and welcome to the World Magic Cup Qualifier Round 6. I'm Adrian Sullivan here with Brian Kowal. On the left, Nolan. On the right, Joe Bernal. Just starting this Round 6. Joe Bernal is playing a black-white mid-range and Nolan playing black devotion. These two players, you can see what Joe has there, the Thoughtseize starting off the game.
Yep, he fires out a Thoughtseize, and he's going to see a Thoughtseize, a Brimaz, a Blood Baron of Viscopa, a Thoughtseize, another Thoughtseize, a Bile-Blight, and 2 lands.
Now, despite the presence of Brimaz in Joe Bernal's opening hand, this deck is not the kind of deck that we saw played by one half of Pantheon, which was the more aggressive black-white list. This is a more controlling list. It does, however, have 4 Brimaz. It doesn't have anything lower on the curve in terms of threats, and in fact has, it looks like 0 pack rats.
That is a pretty odd choice. It seems like he went with Brimaz instead of pack rat.
Yeah, almost a direct swap. Otherwise, if you were to compare this to the deck that was played by the other half of Pantheon, if you changed pack rat to Brimaz, it'd be pretty much the same deck. Firing from the other side, we see also some more discard, taking away that pack rat, and Sign in Blood from Nolan to recoup some of that loss, filling up that hand of all land with some spells, including another pack rat.
Sign in Blood, another interesting choice that you don't see in every black deck.
That Thoughtseize number 2 catches the pack rat there as well. Joe Bernal down to 14 after Pain, followed by 2 Thoughtseizes. Seems pretty likely that the pack rat's going to be the one to go.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's not going to just lose to a Hero's Downfall. I think pack rat's the natural choice.
He goes for the downfall. He must have a removal spell that we know he's got
he still
that
has
Bile Blade.
Yeah.
So he's going to protect whatever his first threat is. Gray Merchant of Asphodel from Nolan. Down comes the pack rat. So from Joe Bernal's perspective, it's Swamp and a mystery. Third land, Brimaz.
I like that play a lot. Lauren can't really go crazy with the pack rat because he'll just lose them all to the Bile Blight.
And Lauren does know the Bile Blight exists. He did see that with that Thoughtseize earlier. In for 1 after a top-decked Hero's Downfall kills Brimaz. There is another Brimaz hanging out, though. So we see Urborg. I think it's going to be Brimaz. There it is.
Realistic.
More 3/4 legends.
Land, Gray Merchant, and...
Another pack rat, it looks like.
Yep, another pack rat. Gray Merchant hits for 3.
It's going to give him a blocker for the Brimaz. Slow down Joe's beats a little.
I think I see an Underworld Connections drawn by Joe. He does indeed have 4.
Looks like he added a 4th at the last minute.
Yeah, we can see the scritchy scratches on the deck list, and indeed 1 was added at the last minute. Joe Bernal having a little bit of a think here. Oh, here they come. Attack.
The YoMTV Raps tokens, that was a classic of yours, wasn't it?
I used to do that a long time ago, too. Joe Bernal's been doing that for a very long time, though. I think Joe's are all MC Hammer. I used to have MC Hammer and Vanilla Ice.
Right.
Joe thinking it through. He's got a Bile Blight. He's got an Underworld Connections. I think that's a Banishing Light for that last card, but I can't quite make it out.
None of you are cool enough for the Boogie Down Productions tokens.
And it's a pass. Devouring Light. Sorry. You made me laugh a little bit there, BK. Okay. Devour Flesh drawn here. I think that's going to end up taking out Brimaz. Goodbye, Brimaz.
Yeah.
And goodbye. Joe Bernal at a pretty low life total right now. And he finally shoots off that Bile Blight, kills the rat, takes 2 from the Gray Merchant.
It's going to be 12-16.
There's a Blood Baron, but not enough mana to cast it. Underworld Connection still in hand. I believe a Banishing Light.
So I think he has to just Underworld Connection here, right?
Underworld Connection, hope to draw a land. He's doing some Gray Merchant math, I think.
Yeah, like what if there's another Gray Merchant? Am I just dead? Can I win anyway? These are the questions he's asking.
He's going in between the light and the connections. And there's the connections. Immediately draw a card, looking for a land.
His alternate play to be on the safe side would be Banishing Light the Gray Merchant.
And attack for 2. Here's that third rat with a little bit of rat food in his hand there in the form of swamp. Oh, no land for Joe Bernal. Wow, this is a rough one. If you're just joining us, I'm Adrian Sullivan here in the booth with Brian Cole. On the left, Lauren Nolan with Mono Black Devotion. On the right, Joe Bernal playing Black-White Midrange. He does draw a card going down to 8. Did he find a land? I don't think so.
Yeah, tough beats for Joe here.
It looks like a Desecration Demon is the card drawn.
I think he drew another Connections too.
So I think he's in the position where he's just going to have to... He's got a Hero's Downfall and he's got a Banishing Light. He's going to have to use one of those cards. He says go. And a Swamp becomes a rat. Pass the turn.
Joe in a tight spot where the rat is it's just barely getting away from him. He just can't get 2 removal spells in one turn to take care of them.
In comes the team. Make a new rat out of a swamp. Hit for 4.
The real one, okay. Yeah. So
Joe goes down to 4. Those rat tokens are amazing. And Urborg means he can cast his Blood Baron. Is it enough?
I think it is. Like, Lauren's out of gas. He can draw a card and make a rat and hit him for 5, but Joel gained 4. It's probably stabilized at 3.
Second Urborg.
Yeah, or second Urborg being a little awkward here because he's still at 4 lands.
There's a Desecration Demon drawn, I think. So this attack then would be, if he discarded that card, would be a total of 8. The rat is blocked, making it 5 damage. Gain 4 life for a total loss of 1 to go to 3. Not particularly great.
Yeah, is that worth it? He's at 4. It might be worth it.
If that's a demon in hand, maybe just casting the demon. Boom. Here it is. Here's my demon. And we already know that the Banishing Light is still in Joe Bernal's hand.
Yeah, and Joe can't attack with the Blood Baron because Lauren will definitely be able to swing back for more damage.
Joe back to the thinking stage. I think what he wants to do here is just Banishing Light the demon and draw a card looking for a land.
Yeah, he has to Banishing Light here. Well, I guess he could have drawn a card and saw if he could draw
and see if there's another option.
Yeah.
He can't attack. If he attacks, he'll go up to 8 life and then die on the swing back. So he has to defend. The attack plus the defense is going to be a total of -1 life for Joe. He just passes. At this point, I would actually just... I would end up drawing a card looking for that land.
Well, just having 6 lands next turn, is it that different from having 5? He has an ultimate price. He has a. I think he might still have a Hero's Downfall, or did he use that?
Brimaz is drawn. Looks like Elspeth in hand as well. Joe's deck runs 26 lands. 2 of them are Urborgs, and you can see the cost right there of that second Urborg. He could have 5 mana right now, but one of the things about that Urborg is it does mean he has 4 Mutavaults in his deck as well, and 4 Bile-Blights. Brimaz joins the defense. Oh, maybe not.
I think he has to just play the Brimaz and pass, right?
He's got some thoughts here. He's thinking about maybe drawing another card.
Well, drawing a card now is probably pretty good because if he draws runner land like 2 straight lands, he has Elspeth next turn.
Oh, Brimaz
not
go.
gonna take the chance.
Another rat is made.
Pack rat is getting out of range of a Bile-Blight if he draws it now.
Yeah. Looking at this board, Nolan now has the ability to present a total of 14 on the attack. He's pre-examining Joe's blocks.
So he can hit Joe for 6, but Joe will gain 4. So this will drop Joe to 1 if he attacks here.
Yeah.
Star City Games IQ competitors.
I think Joe figured that out.
Going up. Super IQ players, your parents
Just why you did
are
not-
up. On blue
Did not draw the card.
Did not draw the
Over
card.
Pastimes board to the right of the stage.
Yeah, the attack is very costly, though. Even though it does drop Joe that low, it's a very costly attack.
Right. But he can definitely do it if he taps out.
Yeah, totally. He's like, let's go, Geronimo.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't know that, but
Sure. Yeah, you're just as likely to.
Will the rats find their cheese?
It was just weird how that worked
yeah, it
out.
was really weird. That was an infinite land on top of your deck.
Yeah. Would work out so better if you had like 1 land in spells.
The attack, if he were to present it, would knock Joe to 1, but it would also kill 2 of his rats. And the Brimaz.
It would turn off the Underworld connections, though, which might be worth it.
And then Joe draw. There's the land. There's an ultimate price.
Oh, that's an awesome draw for him.
I think is that his second ultimate price?
Yeah. So now he can kill 2 rats if there's any attacking shenanigans.
And then that would also mean that his Brimaz, from a defense perspective, would survive and kill another rat.
Right. Can he attack with the Blood Baron with 2 ultimate prices in his hand?
I think he still might not be able to, but
Yeah, I don't. Well, I think he might be able to. It's probably a little risky.
It's pretty close.
But if he, yeah, because if he draws a removal spell from Brimaz, he just dies. So I don't think he can do it.
And Joe's hand is just packed full of goodies. He just hasn't had a chance to use them.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens when you bad install.
Yep. Oh, wow. In they come with a friend.
Oh, daring a block, it looks like. The correct block from Lauren is probably a rat and the maybe even 2 rats and the Grey Merchant, I think.
Just try to guarantee that Brimaz dies.
Right. But that won't work against two removal spells. Which is what Joe has.
Lauren's going with what I would call the safest of blocks.
Yeah, it's a nice attack by Joe because Lauren can't really block effectively without potentially throwing the game away.
And there we see Joe up to 6 and a pass.
And Joe's played these last few turns very well to put him in this position.
Oh, it might not matter one bit, though.
Well, he does have an ultimate price. He can double ultimate price and take 0 damage here.
No, it won't be 0. Those rats are rat copies.
True.
That would be 4 damage. I think there's nothing he can draw, actually. Or I think there's no card that exists that he could save himself with. Yep.
Bioblight and...
Bioblight price...
He could draw Bioblight there.
Yeah, if he had Bioblight and price... Yeah, if he draws Bioblight, he can price one of the rats, Bioblight the rest of the rats.
Yeah, and take 4 and go to 2.
Yep.
Yeah, he should have drawn a card there. Or did he?
I don't know if he did or not at this point.
I don't think he did.
Now, if you're just joining us, that was the end of Game 1 between Lauren Nolan and Joe Bernal. Lauren Nolan playing Black Devotion and Joe Bernal playing Black-White Midrange. The deck very similar to the deck played by Owen Turtenwald and William Jensen at Pro Tour M15 in Portland. One major difference, though, Joe Bernal is running 0 pack rats and is instead running Brimaz ×4 in that card slot.
What do you think made him make that choice? Like, what deck is Brimaz better than pack rat against?
I think Brimaz is better than pack rat against random aggressive decks. Against a random aggressive deck that is just attacking you, a pack rat takes a while to establish itself.
Yeah.
And a Brimaz, on the other hand, can hold the fort immediately.
Yeah, it's probably quite a bit better against, like, Rabble Red.
Yes. And White-Green, for that matter.
Which one you like and stick with?
Yeah, we've definitely seen some games where pack rat was not enough against White-Green.
One of the reasons that I think pack rat didn't take off right away is that until kind of that core version of the deck was fully discovered, when you're playing against the super aggressive decks, pack rat is not at its best until you've gotten over the hump of, am I, recovered from their part of the attacking me. Once that initial rush has been overcome, a pack rat can be really good. But when, especially, a year and a half ago, things like just attackers plus a shock could make a pack rat really too much mana to be able to get too little effect.
Right.
That doesn't mean, of course, that it didn't rise to the top like it ought after people figured out how to build the deck and how to put it together. But I think Joe's decision was largely one based out of an expectation that there were going to be a lot of Rabble Red decks and a lot of White-Green decks.
Yeah, it's not the greatest card if you're being attacked all the time, I guess.
By the time a pack rat shuts down the attack phase, it's obviously incredible at that point. But living to that point, you're talking about giving up your turn 2, your turn 3, and having nothing go wrong.
Yeah. But you're not really getting your 3 mana value out of your rats until you get the 3rd one, probably.
Yeah. In the background, you can see our other match. That's Andrew Beckstrom and Lucas Parson, 2 undefeated players. Andrew Beckstrom, a Grand Prix Top 8 competitor. Lucas Parsons, our current number 1 in the Swiss. Of course, this is round 6, so there's plenty of rounds left to go. 9 rounds today with 295 players. Make sure you join along on Twitter. Hashtag WMCQ. Make sure that you're following along all the action. If you had been, you'd know who the German winner of their WMCQ is, amongst other things. And there are plenty of people here that are tweeting their results as this tournament goes along.
Beckstrom and Parson are playing probably the matchup of the tournament, from what I can tell. Mono blue against mono black. It seems like a lot of the people here are playing some version of one of those two decks, or a lot of successful people I've been looking at.
Yeah, one of the things a lot of people ask me leading into this weekend is what I would recommend playing, and I did not recommend anyone play Blue Devotion for a lot of reasons. But one of the things that the Blue Devotion is very good at is it's very good at preying on decks that have forgotten about it, and it's very good at dealing a lot of problems to decks that are not good against just having Tidebinder Mage. All those decks that are weak to Tidebinder Mage, there are a bunch of them in the room.
We got Booster Grab.
Yeah.
Joe Bernal,
Modern Legacy Widow.
little smile there. These guys have
He's
played a
always
few
smiling.
times, more than a few times.
Bernal's been on a real hot streak in the Midwest. I think he top 8 like 3 of the last 4 PTQs.
Yep. He's been specializing in Modern in fairies, and he was one of the few proponents of non-pack rat fairies. And, it paid off for him. He did get, as you said, 3 recent PTQ top 8s with that deck.
Might have only 2.
I believe it was 3. Either way, it was
I think it
a
was
bluff.
3.
Mine's too much. Almost. I didn't even.
And the players are about ready to present to each other. There's a lot of common threads between the black-white mid-range list and the mono-black devotion list, and you can see that in their choice of having access to Thoughtseize, the Desecration Demon, and then there are other cards like Underworld Connections and their removal suite. What white is usually very exciting for with the black-white devotion deck is the Elspeth Sun's Champion, and that card is a card that is very powerful in these matchups.
Yeah, the choice of white is just to have the best late game threats, or trumping the mirror, when you get to that stage.
And the one thing I always find when watching the black-white lists play out is I find myself missing the Gray Merchant ability to turn your Underworld Connections into various, forms of Drain Life. Like, a Drain Life for just a few is, that's fine, but when you get for 6, for 7...
Right.
And that's something that Nolan's deck is fully capable of doing from the sideboard, where he's got the 4th Connections, which almost certainly has come in. Erebos, God of the Dead, almost certainly has come in. Then there's the interesting question of what to do about the Blood Baron, and 3 Lifebane zombies is probably a part of the answer to Blood Baron.
Well, he had no card in hand, and he didn't have.
Yeah, his. I don't even know if Joe brings in his life bans, but it has to be nice for Lauren to have a few extra discard answers for that card, because it can just be so devastating.
Yeah, I feel like Banishing Light is a card we can expect to see from Joe Bernal just to answer any old problem.
So if you were to play a Black Devotion-esque deck, because they all kind of align in my head to be kind of just variations in the same deck. Like what build would you go with? Would you go with the splash green for Nissa that I've been seeing, or the Pantheon version, or just classical Gray Merchants?
I mean, if I were to be put into that choice, I probably would go something like Black-White. I like access to all of the extra cards, and I think you have the mana to support it. Though, if it was push come to shove and I was forced to play a Desecration Demon deck, honestly, I would see if I could sweet-talk Jared Betcher into giving me whatever his list was.
I'd play Nissa's.
We see opening with Mutavault. There is an Urborg in Joe Bernal's hand, so he can drop a 2-black spell if he wanted to on turn 2, or attack on turn 2. Duress sees a Banishing Light, Underworld Connections, and a Brimaz that it cannot hit.
So rough mulligan against these bears.
Alright, so no board. I have
Goodbye Connections.
5 of them and a Spectre going. And he has a Rat of Mine from a domestic.
The slow grind.
And he's got like 5 lands. One of them.
Most likely we're going to see an attack for 2. There it is. Urborg into Mutavault for 2 damage. You can see Lauren Nolan over there with a Night Veil Spectre in hand. Pack Rat.
He does have Pack Rat. Lauren's play made me think he might not have a Pack Rat, because he took the Underworld Connections.
There's the Banishing Light. Another land here. Because of that Herbivore, he can actually lay the Mutavault into Night Veil Spectre.
And I had to miss on any.
There's a Lifebane Zombie, gets rid of Brimaz.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Those Lifebanes are super on thanks to Brimaz.
And now we see a Blood Baron and is that a Hero's Downfall? Says go. Sign in Blood joins the team in for 3. And there's Night Veil Spectre.
Signblood really helping with the curve on these decks. Something like that. Your first turn is always like Thoughtseize or Duress or something. Your second turn seems like it's usually something reactive. So or a Pack Rat. So it's kind of nice to have like 2 extra things you can do.
Banishing Light takes out Night Veil Spectre. Sign in Blood on Lauren Nolan's turn. A little bit more refill. And that extra mana means he'll have access to then a Thoughtseize and still has access to a 2-drop removal spell. Goodbye to the Blood Baron. Bile Blight hanging out. Attack for 5. Joe looks like he's in trouble.
Yeah, I do not see him escaping.
Here comes 5. And the Bile Blight takes out the Lifebane Zombie. Brimaz in hand. Another land from Lauren Nolan. 3 removal spells in hand. There's a Sin Collector. This is awesome. This is going to be a guaranteed 2-for-1. Okay. Goodbye, Hero's Downfall.
He's going to leave with 2 Devour Fleshes.
And his flesh is devoured.
He's got to pick up a life there.
Oof. It's not huge, but it is. It's awesome that he has it in his hand for later. Grey Merchant in hand. Attacks for 4 for now, though. Getting the damage in while he can. There's a Pain Land. Cave of Koilos. -1 life. Brimaz. We know Brimaz is basically walking dead.
Still going to get him 4 life back.
Yep. And Joe says, I'm going to activate this Mutavault. 2 life. That Brimaz is actually a brick wall. Like,
it could get him back into this.
Grey Merchant. Take 2, go to 4. This means a Grey Merchant off the top would kill Joe.
Kind of had to play that Grey Merchant because otherwise the Brimaz will get out of control.
And take 3. Dead extra cat. Joe must have another. Thinking he might have a Sin Collector, but nope. Land and Night Veil Spectre. Night Veil Spectre is a pretty good one. In come the creatures. Okay.
So Lauren takes down Joe in 2 with Mono Black, which is supposed to be the dog in that matchup, right?
That is the argument that I have heard. One of the things with Joe did have some mana problems. Joe did mulligan.
Right.
And even though you have a good matchup, sometimes you can still lose it.